Hello, I'm Henry Keane and we are UATV English. We debunk Russian propaganda with, as usual, Ukrainian truth for all our global sake. Please help us join commenting and subscribing to our channel. Welcome to the News Pulse. Watch in the episode. Putin calls for peace and strikes Ukraine again. Europe and Ukraine more and more united in ammo production. Hungary attempts to discord Ukraine-EU relations. I want to make peace and meet Zelenskyy in person, says Putin. Good. I'll meet you in person, says Zelenskyy. Nah, you won't. You should be afraid, says Putin. Oh, I'll meet you, says Zelenskyy. Nope, you're too afraid, says Putin. Read my Ukrainian lips. I am ready. Let's do it, says Zelenskyy. Noopy poopy, you don't need that little Zelenskyy, ha ha ha, says Putin. What are you talking about, you Russian dictator? Are you even serious? No answer to that. This is where Putin just disappears and his automated spokes-Russian comes forward, echoing his master. And what about Putin personally? What is the Russian Tsar doing these days? Well, he was the one to offer peace talks to Ukraine. Well, here's what he's doing. Russia launched a wave of drone and missile attacks across Ukraine overnight, killing at least 4 civilians and injuring 26 more people. The assault, including a ballistic missile launched from occupied Crimea and 145 drones fired from 6 Russian cities. Fresh Russian attack on May 14th killed civilians in Kharkiv and Donetsk Oblast and left dozens injured across at least 5 other regions. 2 people were killed in Donetsk Bereztok village, while others were injured in Pokrovsk, Kherson and Rivne. In Dnipro, artillery and FPV drones hit Nikopol district, injuring 2. Russia also dropped explosives from a drone on a moving car in Kherson Oblast, leaving a man with shrapnel wounds and a concussion. There are many of you, about 500,000 of UATV English subscribers, and some videos are getting 250,000 views. So I have a question for you, my beloved audience, in the United States of America, in England and all across Europe. What would you call someone who starts a war and invades your country, turns communities and towns in your country into mass graves, kills children with cluster bombs, does all that for 3 years in a row, only stopping for 3 days to throw his private Victory Day cosplay party where Russian World War II veterans are all covered in medals and must be over 120 years old by now to be actually involved in World War II. And then after the show, this someone strikes your country again with drones and ballistic missiles. And simultaneously he also strikes a pompous pose and calls for peace. He calls for peace to the country that he have invaded. And then he just disappears in thin air when his goal all of a sudden is answered and accepted. And he gets so afraid and angry, and he gets so Russian that he sends 125 drones and a ballistic missile to kill those who accepted his call. And this is the only way he has always been reacting to actual reality, terror. And even more terror when he does not know how to react. Please feel free to write in the comments below, what would you call this someone, even being perfectly aware, of course, of the fact that this someone is Vladimir Putin. The world clearly sees what Putin is, and that is not going to stop unless stopped. This is why on May 13th in Madrid, Ukraine's state defense company Ukroboronprom and German defense giant Rheinmetall have signed a new cooperation memorandum. It is important, and it includes plans to set up a joint factory in Ukraine to produce artillery ammunition.
The full-scale war has proven the enormous demand for artillery shells, and the existing capacities are insufficient to fully meet this need. That's why every new ammunition plant, every new production line is critically important for supplying our forces. We must use every opportunity to build such capabilities. Ole Huliak, CEO of Ukrainian defense industry Ukroboronprom.
Ukroboronprom and Rheinmetall already have a successful history of collaboration. In 2023, the two launched a joint venture repairing damaged Western military vehicles. Its first workshop opened in June 2024, significantly speeding up repairs and helping equipment return to the front lines way faster. In the future, the facility may also produce some new military equipment in Ukraine. Earlier in February 2025, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy met with Rheinmetall CEO Armin Papperger to discuss expanding cooperation, a dialogue that ultimately led to this new memorandum. Also on May 13th, one of the subsidiaries of Ukroboronprom signed a memorandum of cooperation with Spanish defense company Escribano. The agreement includes joint repair and maintenance of Spanish combat modules, co-development of completely new systems, and licensed mutual production of these systems also in Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron has stated that France will continue to support and equip Ukraine in the coming years. One of the main elements of this support could be the transfer of all 155mm Caesar self-propelled howitzers produced in 2025 in France to Ukraine. The Caesar is a powerful and modern artillery system already in use by Ukrainian forces since May 2022. It has earned praise for its speed, precision and battlefield effectiveness. Currently, production stands at around 12 units per month, which could result in up to 144 Caesars howitzers being delivered over the course of this year. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has announced that Ukrainian Armed Forces have begun using a new completely domestically produced ground robotic system called Spyder on the battlefield. More about that. The Spyder robot was developed by Ukrainian engineers, taking into account the experience gained from combat against Russian occupiers. Its quite compact size makes it very easy to transport two Spyder robots easily fit in one pickup truck.
The Spyder is designed with compact dimensions, allowing two robots to fit in the cargo area of a military pickup. This ground robotic platform weighs slightly more than 50 kilograms, yet it can carry a payload of up to 100 kilograms. The robots are equipped with 4 motors, enhancing the mobility and endurance of the ground robotic system in combat scenarios. Key features of the robotic platforms are their maneuverability, ease of control, ability to operate in areas exposed to enemy electronic warfare, and capacity to perform complex maneuvers in confined spaces. The Spyders can dynamically traverse steep slopes and operate at an angle. The battery charge lasts for several hours of continuous operation, from the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine publication.
While robotic systems like the Spyder are enhancing logistics and support capabilities, other frontline units continue to play a key role in halting enemy advances on the very front line. Amongst them are the artillery units of the Rubizh, Frontier in English, brigade, who operate powerful multiple launch rocket systems. Their primarily targets are enemy armored vehicles, obviously. They are the ones to meet and stop Russian assault brigades on the very front lines, preventing the infantry of the occupying forces from moving forward. Our reporters team welcomes you to watch the combat work in action.
These are scenes of rocket artillery crews from the National Guard's Rubezh Brigade in action. Their area of responsibility is the Siversk direction. According to the servicemen, the situation here has recently escalated, with a sharp increase in Russian drone activity.
There's
more enemy movement on our front now, more FPV drones. The enemy isn't standing still, they're constantly upgrading.
Here, the servicemen wait for their orders. Once the mission comes in, they deploy to firing positions. After completing the strike, they retreat and camouflage the launcher. Russian forces hunt them relentlessly.
The enemy uses a lot of FPV drones and reconnaissance drones. They track the vehicle, watch where it stops, and then adjust their fire accordingly. Lancets are used frequently. Lately, they've been equipping them not only with shrapnel, but also shaped charges.
On board the vehicle, the crew has installed electronic warfare equipment to defend against drones. Still, with their combat experience, they know they can't stay long in any firing position.
довго стояли.
Once we stayed a bit too long, firing at several targets. As we were pulling back, they started shelling us, but we managed to get out in time.
Ukrainian artillery do not let the enemy relax. Recently, a concentrated strike hit a cluster of Russian military equipment.
На розслабоні орки.
The orcs got careless. They parked their howitzers, a Mesta, and some APCs all in one place. Perfect target. We hit them hard.
The servicemen say Russian troops upgrade their drone systems nearly every month. The threat is constantly changing. There's no getting used to it. But resolve of the artillerymen from the Rubezh Brigade to defend Ukraine's independence hasn't wavered.
Що ми віримо? Так
What do we believe in? Rocket propulsion, the 4th Rubezh Brigade, and our victory. Glory to Ukraine.
слава Україні.
Reported by Alyona Gromova, Yevhen Karmazin from Donetsk region, UATV News.
Disinformation alert. Hungary is not planning operations against Ukraine, at least for now. A wave of disinformation is circulating on social media, alleging that Hungary is preparing a military operation titled Turul to reclaim parts of Ukrainian territory. Well, these claims are accompanied by footage purporting to show Hungarian armored vehicles moving towards the Ukrainian border. However, the Ukrainian Center for Countering Disinformation has already confirmed that the source of these rumors is an anonymous ex-com account called Hungary-based. This account routinely publishes very provocative content about reclaiming Transcarpathia, returning back to Hungarian roots, whatever that means, and so on and so forth. The account has no ties whatsoever to official Hungarian media or government institutions. The Hungarian Ministry of Defense has clarified that the widely circulated video showing military vehicles in Budapest was recorded during the Ludovica Festival, an annual public military event. Other footage being shared is archive material from the adaptive Hussar 23 NATO military drills held back in November 2023. This campaign appears to serve Russia's interest, obviously. Whoever thought, right? Obviously aiming also to provoke tensions between Ukraine and its neighbors, Hungary. By pushing fake stories of territorial disputes, Russian propaganda always seeks to sow discord between Ukrainians and Hungarians, a long-standing strategy of division and destabilization. Any mayhem, any disorientation, any hoax is good for Russia. Moreover, it is Russia. So your first reaction when you see any breaking news from Russian channels that disregards logic and common sense, look for Russia behind it.
Disinformation about the so-called Operation Turul, during which Hungary allegedly plans to regain some Ukrainian territories, is being spread on social media. In parallel with this news, videos of Hungarian armored vehicles allegedly being pulled up to the border with Ukraine are also being circulated. The Hungarian Ministry of Defense has already explained that the video of armored vehicles in Budapest circulating online is related to the Ludovica Festival, an annual public event. From the publication of the Center for Countering Disinformation on Telegram.
And as a continuation of sorts of the previous topic, we just have to inform you. Another Hungarian Ukrainian scandal. The Hungarian defense minister is at the center of this scandal after an audio that leaked into public web. The recording shows that the government is actually maybe steering the country towards a war. This audio revealed by European Parliament member, an opposition party leader, Peter Magyar, and is dated April 2023 and allegedly features the current defense minister declaring Hungary's move towards what he calls zero phase of the path to war. In it, the minister promotes building a strong combat-ready army and abandoning what also he calls a peace mentality. Critics argue this signals a sharp ideological shift, replacing senior officers with those more loyal to Prime Minister Viktor Orban and his administration under the guise of military renewal. Peter Magyar denounced the policy, accusing Orban's government instead of hypocrisy.
For years they've claimed to protect Hungarians, but now they're sacrificing public safety for power and profit. This is not a mistake. It's a crime. Peter Magyar, leader of the Hungarian TISA party.
Well, accusing Viktor Orban of hypocrisy is like accusing rattlesnake for being venomous. Orban's chief of staff attempted to downplay the controversy, not even denouncing it was actually Minister of Defense speaking in that recording and calling the minister's comments, I quote, normal and ordinary in the light of the current threat of global war. Although they declined to specify from whom Hungary actually should be defending itself. Well, while strengthening national defense amidst Russia's war on Ukraine seems logical, Hungary has repeatedly criticized everyone else for militarizing, claiming that supplying, for example, Ukraine with weapons escalates the war. Critics are already calling out this double standard, but it's actually not. It's just ordinary and normal urbanizing. And this a non-friendly, to put it mildly, policy against Ukraine in particular and all Europe in general from the Hungarian neighbor, and is onwards for 15 years in a row by now. Well, exactly as long as Viktor Orban came to power, actually. Just saying. Well, not just saying. Is all these Hungarian espionage scandals aggravate the agenda between Hungary and Ukraine indeed. On May 9th, Ukraine's security service SBU announced the arrest of 2 Hungarian intelligence agents operating in Zakarpattia Oblast. Their mission was involved gathering data on Ukraine's regional defenses and overall public sentiment in case of a potential Hungarian incursion into the region. Both failed, both were caught. The curator was identified as an active Hungarian intelligence officer, and now these not 2 successful spies are facing charges of high treason under martial law, which is nothing else but life imprisonment could be. Not too good for them, right? Well, in response, Hungary expelled 2 Ukrainian diplomats. These actions are further reinforced by Orban himself, obviously, who accused Ukraine of acting directly against Hungary and interfering in elections even, which are to be held soon in the country.
This has never happened before. The Hungarian opposition party is an active participant in a foreign intelligence operation launched against Hungary. Hungarian services are prepared. Neither Brussels nor Kyiv can decide the fate of the Hungarian people. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, on Facebook.
And while Viktor Orban is trying to disrupt the joint policy of the European Union to make Russia accountable for the aggressive war against Ukraine and prevent them from launching a possible aggression against other European nations, the contents of the 17th sanctions package have been officially approved by now by European leadership.
I welcome the agreement on our 17th sanctions package against Russia. We are further restricting access to battlefield technology, and we have listed an additional 189 Shadow Fleet vessels to target Russia's energy exports. This war has to end. We will keep the pressure high on the Kremlin, Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission.
Well, no matter how difficult it might sometimes seem to continue to maintain trust and good neighborly relations between the 2 countries, Hungary and Ukraine, we hope that Hungarian people are devoted to democracy and support Ukraine's fight for survival. As their survival as an independent nation is at the same stake, even if Viktor Orban does his worst to make it look otherwise. The truth is, hundreds of Hungarian volunteers help Ukrainians, both in Ukraine and in Hungary. Those people represent real Hungary and real relations between the 2 countries. And Viktor Orban is just representing Putin. Well, that was it for tonight. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Henry Keane and we are UATV English. Join us in debunking Russian lies and establishing victory for Ukraine. Let's do it together. Subscribe to the channel. It was News Pulse. See you at the next beat.